Hey gang, it's JC and this is the Daily Dose for Monday, October 1st, 2012. A combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. Great television archives up top. We have JC's eye candy below, and over in the corner, the results of our rock and roll poll question. Have you ever undergone major surgery? I got my stitches out today, so I'm good for another 3,000 miles. And astonishingly, 63% of you say, yeah, they've cut me open and taken something out. That's major surgery. That's a lot. That's 2/3 of the people watching this. 31% said no, and 6% of you said, I've not had major surgery, but I would like to take the knife to one or two people I can think of. Today's rock and roll poll, all right, so it could come down to this now. By the time we talk again on Thursday, and we update the dose on Monday and Thursday, it could come down to a one-game playoff with the Atlanta Braves. Who should the Cardinals give the ball to if that is the case? Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, Kyle Lohse. It is an automatic answer. You shouldn't have any trouble answering this question, but you never know. Carpenter, Wainwright, or Lohse, who gets the ball? We are here in our new studio, our new office, our new digs, here in the new house. I'll, at some point here, I'll take you and show you around all the stuff I have in here, but I got a switch down there underneath a box, about a $6,000 box. You throw that switch, it allows me to go on the air on any radio station in the country, and that's sort of what we've been doing a little bit of lately, sort of off on the side, but I digress. We'll get to a little bit of that later. Let's start with this today, because I think there's a common misconception that movie critics, and I am one member of the St. Louis Film Critics Association, that we really get off on the idea of just ripping a movie to shreds, that's where we get our fun. And nothing could be further from the truth. I'm going to tell you about a documentary. And I know people go, geez, documentary. If you say documentary or subtitles, people just go, oh, God, here we go. But let me tell you, the reason this movie has to be a documentary is because if you try to make this movie and just put it out, every studio in America would say, well, this is fun and everything, but it's so implausible, it's so unlikely, it's so unbelievable that it's too corny, this could never happen, and nobody would ever believe that anything like this could happen. Well, it turned out it did. This is a true story. Early 1970s. A guy they said might have ended up being the best folk singer of all time. Better than Bob Dylan. Think about that for a minute. But he puts out 2 albums and they both flop. Just total flop. And the guy just goes, back into anonymity. Only one problem. His albums make it to the country of South Africa. And Johannesburg and stuff like that on the African continent. And it becomes a rallying point. The stuff, these folk songs, these sort of anti-establishment songs, become the focal point for the attempt to overthrow the apartheid government. And all this is going on, but he doesn't know anything about it. Pre-internet, early 1970s. So it takes until the late 1990s, and they finally find this guy. And now it's 13 years after that, and the film comes out. This guy is alive. I don't know how to explain this movie other than to say Searching for Sugar Man is the name of the movie. The guy's name is Sixto Rodriguez, and it's being held over the Plaza Frontenac. And if you like a good movie, and I mean a really, really good movie, and I have to tell you something, about last 20 minutes of this movie, I was just sitting there blubbering like a little schoolgirl. And I feel okay about it because I looked around and I was not the only one. It's bittersweet. I'm still thinking about it. It's just joyful at times. But this is why I love going to the movies. Again, held over at Frontenac. It's called Searching for Sugar Man. And if you go to see this movie and you don't like it, I don't know, maybe I'll write you a check or something, because I just wanted to go out in the parking lot and just grab people and say, please go see this movie. You'll thank me. Searching for Sugar Man probably won't be out a while longer, so make sure you take advantage of the opportunity. All right, bits and pieces. Here we go. What did I write? I was up in Chicago. And did you hear these stories about Prince showing up 2 hours late for the concerts and then making people wait for an encore for an hour? An hour! Concert's over. You sit there for an hour clapping, and then he finally comes back out. It's just astonishing. No show at the House of Blues. People paid to see sort of like the after concert. People who do this, and more you're hearing about this stuff, it's so disrespectful to the audience. And I know that people think, these performers think that, this adds to my mystique. I'm eccentric. Well, no, you're just a big, boorish, creepy stooge who I hope... Don't get me started on Prince. Whatever you do, don't get me started on Prince. We'll talk a little bit about Sports Talk Radio today. It's being done wrong. it's being done wrong. Sports talk radio is being done wrong in this country, and especially here in St. Louis. I was listening to the pre- and post-game coverage of the Rams yesterday, and the minutia, the stupid stuff that nobody cares anything about. You know, it's sort of like the same, we were just talking about movies, the same as film critics. You get these film critics who I'm convinced are doing their writing and their reports for one another to sort of show off, to try to prove how much they know about film, or in this case sports, how much more they know than the other guy. Maybe the guy at the radio station down the street doing sports talk radio, whatever, showing off how many useless facts they know. There's a very, very small number of guys sitting in a pair of coach's shorts with Ditka mustaches with ESPN on 20 hours a day, and that is who it seems these sports talk radio stations are catering to. Nobody cares who the third-round draft pick of the 1971 Pittsburgh Steelers was, and for some reason that has become important to people. I was listening to the Rams pregame, said now it's time for the injury report, and they start reeling off names of all the guys on the Seattle Seahawks that are hurt. And that's it. That means nothing to anybody. Unless you provide some form of some reference point. It's like if you say, okay, this guy's out, and that's important because he had 2 sacks last week. Or this guy is out, and that's important because he had an interception last week, and he's not going to play this week. But you just reel off a bunch of names that nobody is. You're just wasting everybody's time. See, I'm starting to think about this, and then in the post-game show, unbelievably, all right, here's the phone number, we'll take your calls. But they pre-record the calls and just play the calls back on tape so that there's no opportunity for the host and the caller to interact with one another. It's like, all right, now let's go to another call. Bob, go ahead, what's your comment or your question? And they just play back a tape and then it's over and then the guys talk about it. What is going on? What do the program directors in these radio stations think they're trying to get away? I just don't understand this. And by the way, if you look around and you realize that you're doing something that is not being done that way anywhere else, that either means that you're cutting edge or that you are so far off your point, your message, your mission statement for what you're supposed to be doing. What do these program directors of these sports talk radio stations do? Because they don't pay attention, I can tell you that. And they don't put stuff on the air that is for sports fans the way 99% of the sports fans are out there, where they love their team, they just want to sort of know what's going on, they want to get swept up into the excitement of the party. These guys are moving X's and O's around and giving injury reports without explaining with it. Just such a stupid waste of time. By the same token, how fun is Greg Zuerlein? How much fun is that? We got us a star on the St. Louis Rams. First time in NFL history, is that right? The guy had 2 field goals of 58 yards or more in the same game. That's incredible, and that's a lot of fun. At least something to get excited about. Why would a very good restaurant known for its chicken wings devalue its own product by having a chicken wing eating contest in association with a sports talk radio station? You know, let me just draw a similarity here between two things. Groupon is basically failed and either out of business or about to go out of business. You know why? Because the companies and the businesses and the restaurants and stuff like that found, it took them a while, but they found that there was no benefit to have their products, their goods, their services devalued by always having like a 50 or 70% off sale. They realized that they were sort of giving their product away and devaluing it in the process. And so that whole idea is going away. So with that same idea, why would you're supposed to go out for chicken wings, you're supposed to enjoy them and savor them and really tasty. Ooh, they're so good. There's nothing to be gained by having a bunch of goons get up on a stage and just throwing them around, and they might as well be eating particle board. You know, again, I think that the gang at Culpeper should think about that. You got a good restaurant, you got a good product. Don't cheapen your product just for some very short-term gain that you might get out of the publicity. It's a bad message. All right, number 7, what's that? Oh, my daughter gets a fortune cookie last night. And she just celebrated her 3rd birthday. More about that in a minute. You will do well to expand your business. She's 3. All right. Why would Channel 5 employ a sportscaster that mispronounces Pete Kozma, it says Kozma, and would say bratting practice instead of batting practice, and say escapes. They escape with a win. all in the same sportscast. Why would Channel 5 employ somebody who did that? Maybe somebody could tell me, because I don't get it. All right, let's move on to number 9. About a year ago or so, I put a picture up on our Facebook page, the Showgram with J.C. Corcoran, of Steven Tyler on the beach with boobs, man boobs. And a bunch of people jumped on me. You're so stupid. Can't you tell that was Photoshopped? That's not what he looks like. So last night on the news, they show him with a, he sort of dresses like a transvestite fortune teller. And he wears like sheer see-through outfits. And there he is with the outfit on, with the shirt. You can see right through it. And you can see the big old man boobs hanging out. You wouldn't think that a skinny guy like that would have them, but he does. So for all the people who yelled at me and said I didn't know what I was doing. Remember when Karen Kelly was our executive producer and co-host, and we always used to talk about her husband, Officer Sam? Sadly, they are splitting up. Police chief retires, whatever you want to call it today. Looking like Officer Sam could be the next chief of police of the city of St. Louis. How about that? $3.48 for gas this morning. I saw one that said $3.31 across the street. In Chicago last week, I paid $4.25 for gasoline. $4.25. All right, so if I'm running out of time, I'm going to have to skip a bunch of the other stuff I was going to do. We got to skip that, we got to skip that, we got to skip that, and go right to, 41 years ago today, Walt Disney World opened up in Orlando, Florida. Here's an amazing fact. Some of those people who were there that day, still in line. One of the last jokes I told my father before he passed away 5 years ago, they said, what do Walt Disney World and Viagra have in common? The answer, of course, is in both cases, you have to wait for an hour for a 2-minute ride. He laughed pretty hard at that. Speaking of Karen Kelly, she was here at the house yesterday for Francesca, who's 3 years old. Had a birthday party yesterday, and there's Aunt Karen with little Francesca. That's JC's eye candy. It's right below what you're looking at right now. Again, our rock and roll poll question, who should get the ball? If it comes down to a one-game playoff, season's over if the Cardinals lose. If it goes to that one-game playoff deal, probably with Atlanta, who should the Cardinals give the ball to? Carpenter, Wainwright, or Loesch? Please answer in the corner. Results when we reconvene on Thursday. We update every Monday and Thursday here at jcontheline.com, on Facebook all the time, the Showgram with J.C. Corcoran. That's it, the Daily Dose from our new digs here for Monday, October 1st, 2012, combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. Meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.